Hi, everybody. My name is Wendy Alane Wright. I'm a talent manager at WAW Entertainment in Hollywood, and this is Josh Latzer.
Hello, everybody.
Josh is a working actor in Los Angeles who has done incredible work. He's been here several years, and he has just been working hard and booking lots of stuff. And I think he's booked something like 11 films and 25 television shows.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You might have seen him on Criminal Minds, Justified, Two Broke Girls, Modern Family, Life of the Secret Life of the American Teenager, iCarly. Am I missing anything? Oh, the Newsroom. Franklin and Bash.
Desperate Housewives. Yeah, there's a lot.
Wow.
I'm blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I just wanted to kind of check in with you and say, like, when you came to LA, first of all, where'd you come from?
I'm actually born and raised in Los Angeles, which is like not the norm.
Okay.
Of all my friends that are actors, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's from LA.
Was anyone in the business when you?
No.
No.
No. I wish.
Yeah.
But no, it's just no. I never thought that I would be an actor one day.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of happened.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you take theater in high school and stuff like that?
Junior high was like part of the drama club, and I did kind of the, drama contests and things like that. But I never pursued it in high school.
Huh.
And I was actually a PE coach and became friends with one of the parents who was Dee Wallace from E.T. and Cujo and all that.
I grew up
Great
with
Dee
Wallace.
I love her to death.
She played the mom in E.T., didn't
Yeah,
she? Oh.
yeah. But she just recently, she's recurring on Grimm right now.
Wow.
So yeah, she's still a hard-working actress, and yeah, she's great. And talked to her for several years about doing her acting class, and finally got off my rear end and did it. And so the rest, as they say, is history, I guess.
You went into her acting class.
I went into her acting class. Yeah, I started in her beginning acting class. I mean, had never done anything, and it was a cold reading class, and came in one night and started and fell in love with acting and her technique, and her energy is so great anyways, so it's...
She's a very loving soul, isn't she?
Very much so.
Yeah,
and I think that's a pro, and I think you were talking about her soul. I think that's what makes the difference when you have a teacher like that who cares not only just about her students' acting careers, but really cares about her students, and I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah.
Genuine interest in her people's lives and
exactly.
well-being.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's what separates somebody, you know.
Totally.
So how long have you been working on your acting career?
I started
professionally. When did you get your first professional job? How old were you?
When I got my first professional job, well, I'm going to age myself here, but no, I'm kidding. Actually, I want to say my first professional job was probably my early 30s. I'm 40 now, so I was in my early 30s, and it took a lot of years. It took a lot of years of working at it. Quote, paying my dues. I did student films, anything that I could do that was going to get me a chance to work. I was going to do free. Fine, I didn't care. It wasn't about money.
Right.
It was about gaining the experience of being on a set and working in front of a camera, because working in front of a camera is so much different than doing stage type acting. It's just everything's very simplistic and played very real. So anytime I jumped at every opportunity. I had a friend that was going to CSUN. He asked me to come and do a reading in their class. I mean, anything that I could do that would let me act,
do your thing.
I'd do my thing. I was all on.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You were self-submitting yourself at the
Self-submitting myself. I was doing LA Casting, Now Casting, the self-submission sites there in LA.
Actors Access.
I did not use Actors Access. I didn't even know about it that much, to be honest, when I was self-submitting, and so a lot of the first stuff I got, which were student films, were from Now Casting and LA Casting, and truthfully, a lot of those people I have worked with and kept relationships with over the years, and even when I've done my own stuff, I've consulted about things like that. So you really do start to build up a address book, if you want to call it, of people that you're going to work with, hopefully, in the future.
I totally get that, because I always teach about about my actors doing doing a contact book.
Yeah.
Like keep track of every single person you meet, and make sure you stay in touch with them.
Yeah, it's important. Listen, the student filmmakers of today are the Steven Spielbergs of tomorrow. I mean, that's a fact.
That's true.
I mean, maybe not every one of them, but Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. I mean, they went. George Lucas went to USC. I mean, they all started off as student filmmakers.
Yeah.
So why would you not build relationships with the people that one day might be hiring you for, their $100 million budget film?
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
So I know that you've been with your manager for quite a long time.
Yeah, I'm with Alane O'Farrell, Talent Management. I've been with her a long time.
Not to date yourself again.
No, not to date myself again. And it's a good thing. I've been with her, I want to say it's been at least 8 to 10 years I've been with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And I have to say, I mean, this was a manager that took me when I had very few credits, and has really taught me the business as I've gone along. Got me, to the first person to cut a reel for me.
Yep.
Got me my first agent. Got me my first commercial agent.
Yeah.
I think that people need to realize that managers, especially now in the business, if you're not with one of those giant agencies out there, that the managers work just as hard, if not harder, than some agents do, and can get you auditions. My manager and my agent both get me auditions. My manager has always gotten me auditions, and so it's good because she's able to get me opportunities to work, but she's also able to give me guidance in certain things. There's things where I will just call her and say, hey, I'm feeling like doing this. What do you think? What's your take? And she's able to give me a very open, honest response.
Yeah, and that's so great to have a mentor.
Yes.
Somebody who can guide you and tell you, okay, how the business works, or because otherwise I think without a mentor, don't you find yourself like confused and like wouldn't you be just wandering around?
It is so much to digest that if you don't have somebody that either, unless you are part of a showbiz family, which not many of us are.
Although I noticed you did an interview on with Bo Bridges and Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
They are a showbiz family.
That's a showbiz family.
And they had their dad, Lloyd, as a mentor.
Yeah, they totally did. I mean, they were, it's funny, my dad has always said, my dad has his own business, and he's always been like, I wish I had been in that business. I would have been able to help you out a little bit more. But, but Jeff and Bo were both very, very honest in how their father, Lloyd, had helped them. Not a matter of like, giving them jobs, but a matter of teaching them about the business, about, and I think watching your father go to work every day in the field of choice that you want to be in, and as successful as he was, but yet from my understanding, stayed very grounded and wasn't, I don't want to say it was very humble, and they're both those types of people. They're both very humble guys.
They seem both very humble,
very much so,
just down to earth and connected to each other and connected to you.
Very much. So it was cool because they even said like, we were blessed because we got to go and watch Dad work every day and see what he does, and so you get to learn that, which most of us don't get. So, but since you don't have that, it just shows how much more important it is to have a manager or a mentor that's going to help you, because in this business you will find some people, as in the acting business, that want to help you, and you're going to find some people that are, especially if it's fellow actors, sometimes, I don't want to generalize, but you will find that they are for themselves. And so, I kind of adopt the way of like, I try to help people. I mean, that's just who I am and what I do. In general, so that carries over, but I've helped several friends get representation over the years, several friends get parts, help cast friends and stuff, and whatever it is.
You're making films yourself now, or?
I am currently now. I am crossing over to creating my own content. So I'm working on a pilot for a web series that I co-wrote with a friend of mine. And
so explain that a little more. When you're creating your own content, it's normally the procedure is what used to be, you get an agent. That agent gets you a job. That agent gets you audition opportunities. And then you show up, you do the best you can at the audition, then you go home, and maybe you get it, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
But things have totally changed now.
Completely changed now.
And now an actor can create their own content.
It goes back to my interview with the Bridges brothers. I asked Jeff, this was several years ago, this was when Jeff was not in a lull, but he hadn't started to bring himself back. It was after Lebowski. It had been a couple years. And I asked Jeff, I said, what advice do you have for an actor that's starting out that maybe can't get a job right now or can't get auditions? And he said, do a Rocky. Meaning Sylvester Stallone wrote Rocky for himself. Yeah. He said, don't be reliant on other people to get you work. Write your own work. Well, back then when I did that interview, which was I think in 2005, so we're 2006, several years back, it wasn't that easy. You still had to get cameras and everything, but now people are shooting quality stuff on their iPhone.
That's right. I can shoot a film.
There
on
you
this,
go.
Right?
Yeah. People do. I mean, people shoot web series on their iPhones. People are doing so much on their iPhones.
Yeah.
It's really become, and back then there weren't as many avenues to then display your work. Where now, via YouTube, via Funny or Die, Vimeo, all these other things, and the people on YouTube. My understanding is the top people that create content on YouTube make somewhere up to $200,000 to $300,000 a year. Yeah. By just creating content for YouTube. Yeah. Because of the advertising dollars that they generate, because they have so many followers.
Yeah, some people have millions of followers.
Millions of followers.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So,
that's why I tell you guys, subscribe.
That's right.
Because I got like 150,000 views.
Yeah.
And you all
subscribers.
Need to subscribe too. But that just makes it easier for me to bring you more content, you know. And,
definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
So I love to find out, like, when you first started, you didn't have TV credits yet. Yeah. So that's a dream of every actor, right? I want to be on TV.
Is. Yeah, yeah.
And I have a client who just once said to me, I just want one line. I just want to go on a show and say one line.
True.
And then that would make it real for her. Real.
It did. My first TV booking, my first TV credit, actual credit where I got to work, because I booked a TV show twice. And one time both times they went a different route once the role kind of went in, so I ended up not being able to work it. So when I finally got my first true TV credit, it was like, okay, it's official now. It's real. It's on. So it makes a big difference to you. You feel like all those years of work, and I don't want to say suffering, because it's not suffering, but you're fighting for what you want, and it's like you finally get a piece of that. So.
And it's dreaming, Yeah. You have this dream, and it's in your heart. And you're dreaming, and then one day it's real.
It's real. And I'll say this to everybody out there, for you actors that book your first TV credit, hold on to that feeling, because you do, as you hopefully book more and more, it becomes a little jaded at times. You start to go like, I have friends in other parts of the countries or whatever, that are like, oh my God, we saw you on TV. It's so cool. Like for me, it's like now it's a job. So it's like I love it and I love doing it.
Of course.
But it's not like that first one where you're like, oh wow.
So he's saying it's kind of like crack, folks.
Yeah. That's what Wendy said.
I'm saying that's what he did say. You take a hit of crack and then you can never get the same high you had before.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know from personal experience.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Really
it'd be more like Oreos for me.
But yeah, I understand but it's the same when you make a record too. When I record a song, when you first listen back to it, it is like nothing else, and you listen to it over and over and over and over and over, and it's amazing. And then after about a couple weeks, you heard it.
Yeah, you heard it.
It's kind of like it's never had.
It's on to the next one.
Yeah, it never had that first that high that kept you all through the week, just in love with the art and the experience. It's time, that leaves.
Yeah.
So, but look at this, you get to keep going. So then you booked more. Would you say that once you got a co-star job, casting directors started like taking you more seriously and saying, well, he's already booked one, I can probably give him another one?
It took me a few. I mean, there's certain credits, and I'm not mentioning any show names. Sure. There's certain credits where casting directors will look at those shows, and they're nice, and it's good to have those credits. And then there's other shows that they look at and go, wow, that's a big credit. That's a big show.
Wow.
Big producer. Yeah. Top show.
Yeah. And then that kind of puts you in the running for the job even more? Or how does that work?
I don't think it puts you in the running more. It might get you a chance to get in the room more.
Get you the audition.
More, depending upon what you did on that show. But, I mean, let's be honest, this is a competitive business. Yeah. I mean, working actors, have all worked big shows, hopefully have good roles on big shows. Good credits. So as you start to move on, I think it means a little bit less. Although I will say, I was blessed to do the Newsroom, which is Aaron Sorkin's show. A great show, great show. I'm so sad it's been it's no longer.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
Do I have to see what I have to hear? Yeah. They didn't get picked up for another season?
No, I don't believe so. No. But I will say.
My God, there's that writing.
Well, you can't, Aaron Sorkin. Come on, how are you going to beat that?
No, you can't.
You can't beat that.
Oh, that's terrible.
I will say, like, to see the traction of that, as far as when I would go into casting offices and hear casting directors say, you know, I saw you on the Newsroom, you were great. You know, I mean, there are certain shows that I think that are really, really watched.
I totally get it.
You know what I mean?
The popular shows that everybody's watching.
Yeah, I mean,
even casting directors.
And it's a different thing for everything. I mean, when I saw my daughter's friends, they all said, you were on iCarly, and they, you know, so they loved it, you know. So I mean, there's genres for everybody.
Yeah, I get it totally.
Yeah. They know nothing about the Newsroom. They could care less.
Yeah.
You know?
Newsroom, that's for older.
Yeah,
folks,
exactly.
Adults.
Exactly.
So let me ask you, when you first got your co-star roles, did it take a while to get your guest star roles?
Yeah, it took me a long time to get a guest star.
And the difference, I want to explain to my audiences, hello audiences, this is such a fascinating conversation with an actually working actor who's doing exactly what you want to be doing, and it's possible. You can do it too. I think his stick-to-itiveness and his drive and his focus, and you're working hard at it year after year after year after year, it pays off.
It is a hustle.
It pays off.
It's a hustle.
Yeah.
You've got to stay at it. You've got to be in classes. You've got to be doing workshops. You've got to be updating headshots. It's a pencil, and you always have to be sharpening it. Otherwise, if you let it get dull, then everything goes dull. So it's important.
Let's remember that metaphor, people.
That's it. There you go.
It's a pencil.
Yeah, this is a dull pencil, by the way.
And this pencil really dull. So you need to be sharpening your pencil all the time.
You're constantly sharpening it.
Yeah.
And
so when you need it, you're ready.
You're ready.
I get it.
Exactly. And I think that's one. If there was one pitfall, I would say that I've seen friends that have started off at the same place that I have, is that they stop doing classes or they stop doing pro bono work to try and get tape or get other things. It's like they don't do workshops, and it's like if you're not doing it, somebody else is.
Right.
So
right.
Who do you think is going to get the job? The person that's prepared every day for it, or the person that hasn't prepared in the last year? I mean, if you're an athlete and you're going to show up at a meet or something, and the one that's been rehearsing and practicing every day 5 hours a day shows up, and or someone shows up who hasn't even lifted a finger for a year. Yeah, I mean, you hear pro athletes say all the time, I spend 5 hours pro basketball player, LeBron James, I spend 5 hours a day in the summer shooting. I spend 5 hours a day working on this small part of my game.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. If you're not working on your game, your game is lame. Right?
If you're not working on your game is lame. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And it's so funny because I hear casting directors. I have a lot of friends who are casting directors, agents, and managers, because that's who you schmooze and hang out with, and listen to how they talk. And they are always blown away by how many actors are not in acting class.
Not in acting class.
I don't even understand that concept.
And I think what it does is it makes it so that when you come in for your auditions, I don't think you're prepared.
Yeah.
And so, again.
And you don't get the job.
Yeah. And you're going up against other actors. You might go, even for a one-line role, you might go in for an audition against 30 people.
And half of them are in acting class.
Yeah, or more.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you can't just go in and wing it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not if you want to succeed. Not if you want to book jobs. It won't work. It might get you your first job, but...
Yeah, but don't think your first job is a career.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. It's like you come out really excited about getting your first job. You think, I'm going to make it, and that's going to be my break. And it's not. It's just one day on the set, you did some acting, you went home, and then still nobody knows you,
And that takes me back to why it's so important to do as much student projects and things like that as you can, because... There's a difference between being in that room and reading for a casting director with a small camera in your face, and being on a set where you might have 30 or 40 different, lighting guys, grips, sound, makeup, and everything is such a well-oiled machine. And knowing how to hit a mark, knowing, what to do, and you can gain that experience and really have a chance to mess up on student projects and things like that, where you're going to be forgiven. Where, when you get on a working set, every minute that you waste is money to the producer.
That's right. Yeah.
So you've got to have your game ready.
Yeah.
You've got to be ready to go in front of the camera and do your thing.
Well, I'm a huge proponent of short films and student films, because a lot of times you go to a college or something and they're doing a student film, and they've written it and they've produced it and they got all the people together, and you get on the set and you're going to be just as excited, trust me,
totally,
as if you were on any other set. The camera's on you, and you had better be prepared to do what it is they hired you to do. And learning the waiting game, of course, setting up the shots and learning to stay professional in between those shots and be prepared emotionally for when they do take another, do another shot, and just that whole experience about shooting you and then shooting the other people and then shooting you, and you get so used to that process that then when you get hired for a TV show, you're not staying there,
yeah.
What do I do? And if you can't be an amateur when you get to the levels of pro film and pro television.
No, I mean you yourself are a professional at that point. Yeah, and then the people that you're working with. I mean, I've been blessed to work with some very big name TV actors.
Wow.
And these are your peers now.
Yeah.
You're not a fan any longer. These are your peers.
Right.
And they expect you to be a peer as far as being able to deliver a line, hit a mark, be prepared, and so on and so forth.
Because when you're working at the same level as a star, you need to have the same professional capacity as a star. Yeah. Because you're in the same genre.
You don't need to think that you should be treated the same way, because that is not the case. You are a guest to the set.
Right.
Act that way, just like if you were a guest in someone's home.
Yeah.
You don't just start opening up the refrigerator, although I have at some of my friends' homes. But you're a guest.
Yeah.
So act that way.
Yeah.
Be on time. Be somewhere where they can find you. Be in your room. Be wherever it is, and treat it as you're a guest somewhere. Now go and do your job, and hope you get asked to be a guest again.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
And don't give them attitude, and don't act a fool, and really be on time, professional. Show up with everything that you required, and do your job with a positive attitude. Be humble, thankful, gracious.
And do it the same way you did in your audition. I mean, that's one of the big things. Because you got hired because of the performance you gave in your audition. Mm-hmm. Not because you were going to change it when you came to the set. Yeah. So do it the same way. In TV, what I found, which was so interesting for me, is that it moves so fast that directors, even with stars, there isn't a ton of direction. There's so much that goes on that your game needs to be on.
Right.
You need to hit your mark, say your lines. To me, the best thing for me, especially if I'm a guest actor on a set, is to go in, do my work, and have the directors have said hello and goodbye and thank you. It means that I did my job.
That's it.
And it's like you can't let your pride or your ego get in the way of like, well, why aren't they talking to me? They're not talking to you because you're doing what they want you to do.
Yeah, they gave you a part, you play it.
That's it.
And the rest of it's none of your business.
Small adjustments may come, but it's like, they have so much more going on than to worry about a guest actor.
Yeah.
That you just need to know that there's so many big pieces going in place that just do your job and you will be fine. It's
so important you understand that this is a collaboration, and that your job as an actor there is to forward the vision of the director. Yeah. To and really be a part of the whole process and just do your sliver.
And if you're going in if you have a one or two liner, I mean, you are there to move the action along pretty much. I mean, if you're a waiter, you're asking, can I take your order, please?
Right.
That's all it is. It's just a very simple.
Can I take your order?
And the funny thing is that you may go in and do it exactly how you did in the audition and do a great job, and everyone loves you, and then your scene gets cut.
Yeah.
Or they're on the star of the show's face when your line's delivered.
Ooh, it happens a lot.
That's how it is. You are not the star of the show.
That's right. You're not the star
of
the show.
One day, hopefully, we all will be. But in the meantime, it's like they're going to defer to the star. If they can get a reaction to the star of the show, they're going to go that way. But you can't blame them. People are tuning in to see the star of the show, not the guest actor, not the co-star with one or two lines, where maybe our parents and our family and our friends are tuning to see us that day, but people are watching the hit shows on television because they're familiar with those actors, and that's who they want to watch and see.
Right, and I was watching a show the other day. I don't remember what show it was, but you were there. You were on it, and I was like, honey, Josh! Bouncer!
Me play a bouncer?
Why would they typecast you in that? But you were, and it was perfect. You played this really straight-faced bouncer, no expression. It's like he's nailing it. And I mean, that must feel great.
It's great. Right? It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
How awesome. Okay, let me ask you another question. Before we wrap this up, I want to get to some two things I want to talk to you about. Like, two things. You're starting to teach a class now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm starting to get a class off the ground right now.
Yeah, and what is that class going to be about, and who's that geared towards?
That class is really focused on, for the most part, beginning actors and actors that maybe have a little bit of legs underneath them, but haven't really begun the auditioning process. So it's really specialized at getting actors ready to do casting director workshops. Casting director workshops have become an essential part of the game out here in Los Angeles. Some people can be bitter about them and say, oh, well, you have to pay for an audition. It's like, no. That is part of the process. If you haven't done anything and these casting directors don't know you, you need to be seen. You need your work to be seen. Yeah. And if it's whatever the price is, it's a classroom format. So you're still getting the same thing that you would get if you were taking an acting class. The only difference is that you're getting to meet a casting director who has the potential to possibly bring you in for a job. Yeah. That's the key. So there are different formats that they're done in, but one of the key formats is cold reading, which means you come, they give you a scene, you get paired up with someone that you've never met before possibly. Yeah. You go outside for 5 to 10 minutes, read it, work on it, and come back in. And if they call you first, you've got to go up now and give the scene
some legs.
Some legs, yeah, some legs. And not just some legs. You better bring it.
Yeah, you better
because
bring it.
Because there's going to be enough actors in there that will bring it that you're not going to be remembered for your performance. And some actors might say, oh, well, they're going to cut me a break because it's a cold read. No, they expect that you're professional and that you have a cold reading background. Right. Because the fact of the matter is that things change so quickly on set. You might get a scene, you might have your scene memorized, and they come in and go, oh, here's some new pages. We changed this.
Bam, just
boom.
Like that.
I mean, I've worked shows, but I worked Two Broke Girls, and the executive producer came to me and said, literally, camera's on. Okay, let's change this line to this. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm good. It's for me. But I'm saying that's how quickly it happens. So if you can't pick up and memorize quickly, you're going to be in trouble. And some auditions now, for some of the larger productions for movies and things like that, there are non-disclosures that you sign. You don't get the sides until you show up to the actual audition, and they give you 10, 15 minutes to work on them, and then you got to come in and give an audition that's worthy of being hired for.
Because they don't want anyone to know about that project. They don't want information leaking out and stuff.
Exactly. And there's so much in this day and age. I mean, listen, Quentin Tarantino just, shut down a whole film production because somebody gave out the script to one of his...
Are you serious? Yeah,
because it made it onto the internet.
And that's a huge loss financially for him, and I think he's beyond...
That is another thing. Listen, if you're blessed enough to be hired, keep everything to yourself.
Keep everything to yourself.
Don't post. Don't,
You can say, you just booked a pilot or you booked a film, but keep the names, I think, of the film
until it shows. Once it shows, you're fine. Yeah. But until that point, they don't want you speaking of plot points, anything. I mean, these shows, you're talking about, in some cases, billion-dollar entities. They don't want spoilers out there for a reason. Exactly. They want people to keep coming and watching. Right. So it can be. I have seen some friends, post, hey, back in the days, Lost was a big show. Yeah. And I know somebody that had booked an episode of Lost and was so pumped, and they were going to Hawaii to shoot it, and put something on the Facebook or something like that.
Here's what happens to Josh Holloway's character.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's a huge no-no.
Yeah, you get fired like that, and even sued. You get sued.
So that's why there is a lot of NDAs now, non-disclosures, as far as that. And so, you show up, you have maybe a small breakdown of what the character's supposed to be, and then you show up, you get your sides. You might have 5 pages of sides. I have 5 pages of sides recently on a cold read situation. And
wow.
Yeah, but it's a muscle. It's a muscle that has to be worked. If you're not working that muscle, if you don't have the muscle to begin with, you're in trouble. But then if you're not working that muscle, like anything, it will atrophy. You will lose the strength of that muscle.
And is that something you're teaching in your class, how to build that muscle?
Yes, definitely. That's the whole process of learning how to cold read, learning how to connect with a scene partner that you. Like I said, if you and I had never met each other and I got handed a scene and you and I are now working with each other, we have no history with each other. I don't know you. You don't know me. So being able to identify something within you that I can connect with someone I know, whatever it is, you'd have to take the class. I'm not.
You really need to figure that out. It's so crucial that you learn these techniques.
And so these things will help you. Even when you go to an audition, sometimes sides will literally change by the time you got in your car to drive to the audition and you get there, and the sides are now changed
because the writers are working.
They're constantly working,
they're working.
So you're not going to be. Can I have an hour to go outside and work on this? No, you've got 5 to 10 minutes.
And also sometimes when you go to an audition, they say, maybe you're not right for that. They take your script and they try this role instead, and they hand you brand new sides so you don't have any time to prepare.
Exactly.
And that's a real cold read. I mean, I don't know what they call that, but that's like
that's
ice cold
read. That's right. That's right. So that's really what the focus is that, and building up that confidence in that, doing some mock CD audition, workshops.
Yeah. Which is good, because you don't want to practice in front of casting directors. You really don't.
As we were talking about managers, agents, so on and so forth, and you and I have had this discussion before, it's like you have more than just yourself to worry about as far as your image goes. If you're lucky enough that an agent or a manager believes in you enough to take you on, you are now representing them as well.
Yeah.
If you're sloppy, if you don't, show up on time, if you're not producing in the room or in a casting director workshop.
Or if you don't show up at all.
If you don't show up at all. They look on the back of your resume and they see who you're with.
Yeah.
And, you don't want that type of a stigma attached to your reps.
Yeah, I would, I've dropped people the moment I find out something like that happens.
Yeah.
Because anything an actor on my roster does affects every other actor on my roster.
Totally.
So I can't have people screwing around. You got to be at the top of your game.
Yeah, every victory for one of your clients is a victory for your whole client list.
That's right.
And every up, like you were saying,
every mess up.
Yeah, is
a mess up for everybody.
Could cost a chance for another one of your actors to get into that room.
And that's not tolerable. So that's why you got to be really careful. That's why managers are very selective and agents about who they take on. They want to make sure you're a pro, that you understand the business, that you're not going to make these really stupid mistakes that cost them their relationship or cost them the relationships of some of the other clients on the roster. So, it takes time to understand how all those pieces fit together. But, I do this wonderful workshop, and Josh is a part of it. It's so amazing. We're doing this every month. Once a month, we're doing it at Act Now in Sherman Oaks. And it's from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. For 5 hours, you have access to people like Josh, who's a working actor, who knows what he's doing, who's been where you are right now, and he is where you want to be. And he talks in detail, much more than in this conversation, about how he gets there, and how he books co-star roles and how he books guest star roles. And then he's decided he's going to do a class to start teaching people. Of course, everybody on my roster is going to be taking this class, because my roster, I started them out with brand new people.
Yeah.
And I'm building them. So I've been developing them for years, doing student films, doing short films, doing webisodes, and now one of them just booked a pilot. One of them just booked a television show.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love it. One of them just booked a lead in a feature, and so they're starting to be needing you.
Yeah.
Because once you get to a certain level, you really need to know how to book a co-star.
Yeah.
You need to know how to go in there and nail it, and you need to know what's required of you to do that. So you need his class.
And the casting director workshops are going to, in my opinion, this is just for me.
Oh, interesting.
I've
learned something new here.
I've done hundreds of them. Hundreds. So, it is key for you if casting doesn't know you. Mm-hmm. It is key that you at least see somebody from the office.
An associate is fine.
And that's who you want. To be honest, great. It'd be great to see the head CDO as well. But the assistants, the associates, those are the people that are looking through the pictures first. They're going to bring their workshop people, in and things like that. It helps. Them going out and doing the workshops
helps the casting director.
You have 8 days. Yeah. There's 8 days is what it takes from casting, shooting, everything. 8 days
to do one episode.
To do one episode of TV. So anything that they can do to expedite the process
is a blessing to the casting director.
So if you're not doing a casting director workshop, you are putting yourself behind an 8 ball to begin with. It's so key. I'm not saying this because I'm being paid by casting directors. I'm not saying this so that they bring me in. I already have plenty of good relationships with casting directors. I'm saying because I know what helped me take me into auditioning on a regular basis.
And onto the next level.
Onto that next level, because they get to see when I don't have credits, maybe I don't have great tape because I haven't done a lot of things, they see how your work is.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, I'm going to give this guy a shot and bring him in the room and see how he produces.
Yeah.
But I had 5 years of taking a cold reading class with Dee Wallace to give me an acting technique, cold reading skills, things like that, so that when I started casting director workshops, because when
you knew your stuff.
I could pick up sides and memorize it practically in 5 to 8 minutes, and then go and produce.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's what the class is really based on. Learning how to sight read, meaning being able to go down to your sides, but staying connected with your scene partner at the same time, which is key. You can't go down and break, come back up.
I was thinking that maybe y'all and I could get together and have a little fun. You know something? I'm a big proponent of casting director workshops. I know there are some people, one person in particular whose name I will not be mentioning because then he'll just harass me, but he hates casting director workshops, and he's even taken it to the state level to try to get them like shut down. And listen, most people in Hollywood don't believe that way. We believe that casting director workshops are an amazing opportunity for you to be in the room with a casting director and start a relationship with them. I don't think of a casting director workshop, and maybe you don't either, as I'm going in there and I'm going to get her, they're going to like me so much, they're going to bring me into an audition for a job tomorrow, and I'm going to become a star.
You're going in there to learn about the office, learn about how they do their shows, and to hopefully gain a fan.
Yeah, it's
That's
educational.
What you want. It's educational, and you're hoping to gain a fan. You're hoping to have someone go, wow, I really liked what they did with that scene.
Yeah, I liked that work. That was memorable.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, if you can get a fan out of a casting director, casting associate, casting assistant, whoever it is, you've done good.
Yeah, you're going in there to book the room.
You might not even hear from that office. You might not ever hear from that office, but you may have a fan, or you may not hear from that office for a year or two.
Yeah.
But they remember.
You hear that 1 year or 2 years.
Take several.
Things don't happen like this.
There might not be a role that you were right for. I mean, we all want to think, oh, I could play that, but as you do with your typecasting, type workshop.
Yeah, right.
There are certain roles that you are going to be typed for. I mean, my dad always says to me, well, what are you? Are you a cop, a bad guy, a bouncer? It's like I always tell him, as long as it's a type that works.
He could do all three of those.
Yeah, I could do all three of those. And my acting is a lot deeper than that also. But
of course it is.
But you want to be a type that works consistently, a type that you watch TV and you go, I see that type all the time.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being, quote, typecasted. I mean, it means that you're going to work in this town.
Yeah, typecast.
Yeah.
We like that word cast.
Yeah, typecast.
Yeah, typecast.
Yeah.
So just to wrap this up, what do you think would be the most important thing that new actors should know? I know this is a very big question, so maybe you.
Well, no, I think there's.
Important to you.
I would say know what you're getting yourself into. Know that you are entering into a business. This is no longer fun time and playtime. This is a business. You're going to spend money before you make money. That's the way it goes. You're going to be in the red before you get into the black. It's any business that starts off. There aren't too many businesses that start off with a great profit loss sheet.
You don't go into business and make $1 million.
Overnight. It just doesn't happen. I mean, sometimes it takes. Listen, you look at something like Apple Computers, who had a great '80s. Microsoft came along. Apple kind of faded away, and it took several years until they brought themselves back in. I mean, there's lulls, and that's business. There's going to be some years that are great, and there's going to be some years that are lean. You're hoping for more great years than lean years.
Right.
But in the beginning, there's costs. There's classes. There's casting director workshops, headshots, reels, gasoline, especially in Los Angeles, parking in Los Angeles.
We're up to $4 a gallon.
$4 a gallon. So you have to really know, is this something that I am committed to doing, that I'm willing to take losses in until I start to reap some profits? Because it isn't like you're going to come out here and spend $250 and be ready to go. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. So that's what I think it is. And with that whole business aspect, again, these are business relationships that you're building. These are people that everybody has jobs that they have to do. Casting has to answer to their producers. Producers have to answer to the studios or networks. I mean, everybody has to answer to somebody. So it's a business, and if you don't treat it business-like, you're not going to succeed. And that would be the biggest thing I would say is, don't be afraid to spend some money in the beginning. It's a necessity. I went 4 to 5 years until I started to make money, until I really started to make some money where I'm like, oh, well, this year I actually made more than what I spent.
Wow. And what did something happen that made that trigger that
yeah, well,
that,
I just started working. I started booking paying jobs.
Booking stuff.
Yeah, I booked a national commercial and things like that. And you start to go, oh, wow. And that's the thing people need to realize. If you're spending $200 a month for a class or $175 for a workshop, or not even that much, some workshops can be $25, $30. When you book a job on average, I mean, the scale, if you're in the union, is roughly around $880 to $900 a day for work. And it goes up depending upon your quote and things like that.
Right.
And then residuals come after that based upon, if the show re-airs. So, spending $50 to go see a casting director, even if you see him 2 to 3 times, maybe $150, you might make 10 times that money or more than that.
Absolutely.
Over the course of if you work one of their shows. I mean, and that's what it is. It's an investment. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in your business.
Yeah.
Your own small personal business, complete with write-offs, everything like that. You have to be in it to win it. And if you're not spending money and not investing in your business, again, somebody else is. Somebody is marketing themselves. Apple couldn't have just made the iTouch or iPod or iPads without spending hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising and everything that they do to get to that point. If they just created it and no one knew about it, it could be the best invention on the face of the earth, but nobody knows about it.
Sit on their shelf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what you are. You're
a product.
You're a product, exactly. You're an iPod that in the beginning you're sitting on a shelf and no one even knows you exist. So you've got to be out there and you've got to start to market yourself and show people like, hey, this is a great product. You need this product in your production. And that's what... And
realize that your product may be brilliant. I mean, if the iPad is sitting on a shelf, that's a brilliant product. But until someone hears about it, it's just sitting there. You can't sit there and feel bad. My iPod is sitting on the shelf.
If you really want it, if it's your dream and this is what you want, there's nothing else in the world that you want to be doing, then you do what you have to do. If this is something that you kind of feel like, yeah, that'd be nice, that'd be fun.
That'd be fun. Maybe
don't do it. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to save yourself a lot of time, pain, money, etc. This is not a hobby.
Yeah, it really
isn't. It's a business, and you have to be committed for that. And to kind of tie it up as far as a business, as we were saying earlier, that means being on time. Never missing. I have never missed a theatrical audition in all my years. Never. It's just because I never know when that audition is going to be the one that takes me to the next level. And I also know that casting director knows me, wants to bring me in for this. They're doing me not a favor because they're bringing me in because they think I'm right for the role, which is going to help them.
Yeah.
But they had other choices that they could have brought in.
Right.
So I'm respectful of that fact.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And here in LA, it can take you sometimes 2 hours to get somewhere that with no traffic it'll take you 20 minutes. So you've got to be prepared and be on time and
get there early to park, because you never know where the parking is at any audition you go to, and sometimes it's down 5 miles down.
That's it. And have fun. You have to have fun. You have to be able to just throw it all away when it's done. You walk out of that audition room, you walk out of that casting director workshop, and let it go, because there's nothing gained from getting in your car and going, oh God, what did I do?
Rehashing it over and over and over.
Nothing positive there's nothing positive from that. So
what do you do when you're leaving an audition? Do you ever send thank you cards for auditions or for when they book you the job?
I do both.
Wow.
Depending upon the casting office.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a casting office that knows me very well and brings me in regularly, I'm not going to send a thank you note every time.
At every
I think
audition
it becomes
too
redundant.
Much. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't send them. I still do. I think, again, it's always nice to say thank you. Definitely. I mean, that's just part of life.
The art of thank you.
Yeah, the art of thank you. And again, if you're not doing it, another actor probably is. And so...
Such a good point.
Why would you not put yourself in a position to win? Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you're coming from a standpoint of like, well, I'm only doing this because No, genuine. Write a nice note. Thank you. It takes all of 2 minutes.
It's common courtesy. If someone came to your house and you gave them a nice meal, or you sat down and had a conversation with them and they left, and then they would send you a thank you card. Thank you for having me over.
Exactly.
And doesn't that make you feel so special when someone takes the time to acknowledge your presence and that you were there and thanks you.
Even after workshops, I mean,
it's a nice thing to do.
The assistants and the associates of today are head casting directors of tomorrow.
That's right.
I mean, that's a fact. So that's why it's so important if you're not doing these workshops, you're not meeting casting directors of tomorrow. They already have the power to bring you in, but you never know. They could have 5 shows 5 years from now, and they don't even know who you are. But if you had started doing these workshops and producing in the workshops, they now know you, and now they really, really do have a lot of power to help your career.
And
out.
you're on their inner circle. You're one of their people that they
Their
found way
people.
back. Yeah, they're go-to people.
Yeah.
Do you ever find that you make a target list and figure out, this is a show I'm right for, I would really fit in on that show, and that's the casting director who casts it, so I'm going to go do a workshop with that casting director? Is that part of your process?
Well, I can't say everything, Wendy, because that's part of my class.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. No, you're right, actually. He has so many secrets. Let's not tell any more secrets. That stuff you can find out in his class. And
yeah, my class will be, really what my class is, it's an all-inclusive class that's going to give you a cold reading technique that's going to help you in auditions and help you in casting director workshops and just help you in your general overall acting. But also talk about casting directors, which ones to see, when to see them, which shows you should be looking for, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's really important that you do target the right people at the right time.
Yeah, and there's a way to do that. So Josh is going to teach you all that.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, you can find out all kinds of information about Josh's class on my website,
Yes.
Secrets of a Hollywood Talent Manager. And if you want to meet Josh in person and come meet both of us at the next Winners Circle Workshop.
Winners Circle Workshop.
Woo woo! It's going to be March 31st. Coming up, and then we're going to have it probably the last Monday of every month going forward through the year. So keep checking on our website, secretsofAhollywoodtalentmanager.com, to find out more about that. And thank you so much for taking
Thank
the
you.
time.
And thank you guys for watching. I hope that this was informative, and I keep watching because this is invaluable. I wish I would have had a tool like this when I started out. So be grateful that you have this.
Yeah, definitely. And my watchers are really grateful.
Very
they
cool.
really are. You guys are awesome. I love you. I'll see you next time. Take care.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Love my